I was on a video call with my whole family the other Sunday. Kids, grandkids, the whole crew. And my son-in-law, a wonderful man who wasn't raised with any particular faith, asked a question that really made me pause. We'd seen a news clip about the Pope, and he just shrugged and said, "I honestly don't get it. Why does everyone care what one elderly man in a fancy hat says? He's just the CEO of the Catholic Church, right? What does he have to do with the price of tea in China or with me?" And I couldn't be upset with him. From the outside, I absolutely see how it looks. It can seem like a distant, ancient institution that's irrelevant to modern life. But what if I told you that the man sitting on that chair in Rome might be one of the most important figures for everyone on the planet, regardless of faith? That his voice speaks to issues that affect us all, especially at this stage in our lives? Therefore, today, let's pull up a chair and have a chat about something we've maybe taken for granted. Let's ask the question, why does the Pope matter, even if you're not Catholic? And to understand this, we need to start with a moment that truly stopped the world in its tracks. A moment I know we all remember. April 19th, 2005, the funeral of Pope John Paul II. Think back, the news coverage was absolutely unprecedented. It was the largest gathering of world leaders in history. Kings, queens, presidents, prime ministers, they all came to Rome. But even more powerful was the sea of people, millions. They flooded St. Peter's Square and the streets of Rome. They held up signs that simply read, "Santo subito," make him a saint immediately. The world wasn't just watching a state funeral. It was mourning a father, a man who had helped bring down the Iron Curtain, who had tirelessly preached forgiveness and human dignity, and who, in his final years, showed us all how to face illness and aging with incredible grace. But here's the conflict. For many of our Protestant brothers and sisters, and for those with no faith at all, this immense global respect for a pope is confusing. The very idea of a supreme pontiff can feel unbiblical, even scandalous. Isn't Christ the head of the church? Isn't there to be no other mediator between God and man? Therefore, that tension forces us to ask, is the Pope just a religious figurehead for a billion Catholics, or is his role something more global? This is where it gets personal for all of us, no matter where we are on our faith journey. You see, the Pope's relevance today isn't primarily about doctrine. It's about something we all care deeply about, especially as we get older and think about the world we're leaving for our grandchildren. It's about being a global moral voice. In a world where politicians come and go, where corporate CEOs are only focused on the next quarter's profits, and where news cycles change by the minute, the Pope holds a unique position. He's not elected to represent a single nation. He doesn't have an army. His term is for life. This gives him a unique freedom to speak on timeless principles without the fear of losing an election or upsetting shareholders. Think about the biggest issues we've lived through. The environment. Remember when Pope Francis released his encyclical Laudato Si on caring for our common home? He wasn't just talking to Catholics. He was addressing every single person on the planet. He framed climate change not as a political issue, but as a profound moral crisis. He challenged world leaders at the UN. He made us all think about our stewardship of the earth for future generations. Human dignity. From the very beginning of his pontificate, Pope Francis has constantly spoken about the throwaway culture, a culture that discards the unborn, the elderly, the poor, the immigrant. As we ourselves are in the later chapters of our lives, his fierce defense of the value and dignity of every human life, from conception to natural death, is a powerful countercultural message. He reminds a world obsessed with youth and productivity that our worth isn't in what we can do, but in who we are, beloved children of God. Peace and reconciliation. When wars break out, like the terrible conflict in Ukraine, who does the world look to call for peace? The Pope. He doesn't send troops. He sends diplomats and humanitarian aid. He pleads for dialogue. He becomes a focal point for hope when everything seems hopeless. For my Protestant friends watching, I respect that the office of the papacy isn't part of your tradition. But I would gently ask you to see the Pope not as a rival Christian leader, but as a crucial ally on the world stage. He is often the most prominent voice defending the core Christian values we all share: the sanctity of life, the importance of the family, and religious freedom for everyone. He is a sign of contradiction against a world that often says, "Look out for number one." He preaches mercy over judgment, service over power, and love over indifference. So, to my son-in-law, and to anyone who's ever wondered, the Pope matters because someone has to keep asking the big questions that the world of politics and business tries to ignore. In the noise of 24-hour news, he is a voice that speaks for the vulnerable, for the planet, and for the principle that there is a moral law higher than any human law. He matters because he represents a conscience for the world. And in our golden years, having a conscience for the world is something we can all understand, appreciate, and be grateful for. What do you think? Does this help explain his unique role? I'd love to hear your thoughts and memories in the comments below. And if this gave you a new perspective, please hit that like button and share this with a friend you think would enjoy the conversation. Thanks for spending this time with me. Take care, and God bless.